This is my Android pinball machine. Normally I build things on this channel, but I built this a couple years ago. It's built from a TV set, a Android TV box, some random other parts. That's a infinity mirror that I built, which is a mirror, and in front of that is a piece of plexiglass with some auto tint, and then of course an LED tape around the edge, and a custom 3D printed icon on the middle. It has arcade buttons and extruded aluminum sides and custom speakers. Today we're going to rebuild it and make it a little better than it was a few years ago. This will be more of a rebuild than a build. I'll show you what's inside, and we're going to neaten it up a little bit, but while we do that, I'll show you how I built it. Let's turn it like this. That should be easier to see. Okay, let's take it apart. Okay, and inside is a mess. But what we're actually looking at beyond all this junk is inside. We have a 24-inch LG television set with an HDMI input, an Asus Nexus Player. There is an arcade controller right here with a USB input. There are 8 keys. This is escape, which gets you out of whatever table you're in. It's basically the Android back button. This is the enter or OK button. This is right shift and left shift. And these are your directional arrows. And that's all being converted by the arcade controller into a USB stream that acts as if it's just a normal arcade stick. These wires are a huge mess, and I want to take care of that first. Every project starts with a good enclosure, and this one is just birch. Figured out what size I wanted for the television that I used. Just cut out a rough shape. I am no good at woodworking, as you can tell. It's very rough. No sanding, just spray paint. Installed the keys. They are very simple. I messed up on the shape that I wanted for my controls several times. So, as you can tell, I've covered up the holes with a custom ring that I made for them on the 3D printer. First thing that we need to do is look at these arcade buttons. The wiring is a bit of a mess, and we might be able to neaten that up a little bit. We can put the monitor back in. In my case, it goes this way around. I know that this is the bottom of the field for the orientation I've set up. It settles right about there, and this is a spot for wires to go through up to the backboard. Now it's time to start working on the wiring. This is a 4-port USB hub. I believe it's USB 2, which is plenty for the peripherals we have. The Nexus Player only has a single USB micro, which I have an adapter to go to a standard USB-A, I believe. And then, if we mount this right about here, Next, we need to find a home for the TV power supply and the Nexus Player power supply, so they're just not hanging out there in the middle, bouncing around. Don't want those falling out of the socket while this case is closed up. There. Every time I pick these up, they're the wrong way around. Already, that's looking a lot neater. We just have to work on a strain relief for the cord and the HDMI. And we're just about done. Now, for the HDMI, I have got these tiny little thin ones. This should be perfect for just pushing 720p video to a monitor. That's a whole lot neater. It's not 100% organized, but it works. As for the cord, I've made a slot in the old 12 volt input. I'm going to tie a knot in the cord. We'll feed it through. Give it a couple extra inches on the inside. Okay, let's put this aside for now. And we'll bring up the backboard, and this is basically just wood, a plexiglass with window tint on the back, mirrored. There's a mirror in the back, a string of LEDs around the outside, and of course there's a little Android logo in there. Okay, let's put this aside for now. And bring up the backboard, and this is basically just wood, a plexiglass with window tint on the back, mirrored. There's a mirror in the back, a string of LEDs around the outside, and of course there's a little Android logo in there. Okay, now it's time to mount the backboard. In this case, the machine is lighter, so it's much easier to move that. And that helps us get it lined up. There's one. And there's the other. There. This wire has to go inside, like so. It consists of a USB to run the LED string and the speaker wires for the TV speakers, which are here and here. I think we'll just mount this right here to give it a little flexibility when the backboard goes up and down. And that is mostly done. I'm not sure what to do about this button yet, because if you look at it, it is actually too close. It's actually at least a 4-way button with a very complicated wiring diagram. I believe there are different resistors for different buttons, and it has a sense line and a power line. That way it feeds back a different resistance for channel down, channel up, volume down, power. That's going to take a lot of time to figure out. Then of course there are 5 volts ground and signal at least for the infrared receivers. I may just leave those and put a cutout where you can get at them from outside, or I might extend the wires outside the cabinet so that you can use the remote control. I haven't decided yet. The trouble with using an Android TV as a pinball is that a pinball wants to be in portrait mode and an Android TV wants to be landscape. They don't have a sensor like a telephone or a tablet, so they can't really tell which way they're going. They always assume that your TV is mounted this side up. In this case, with the Nexus Player, I was able to sideload the set orientation app. It doesn't show up in your app drawer for some reason, but that's okay. You can still get at it through the settings. Go down to apps, and in this case it's the top one, and we can force it to open. Click the drop down, and let's find the proper one. I believe it's portrait. There we are. And now the machine will always be in portrait mode. This doesn't work on every Android TV. In fact, on my old software for the NVIDIA Shield, it worked fine when I tried this. The latest update does not work. It always overrides and says, TVs go like this, dummy. Once you've got the proper orientation, you use the directional keys to click around to the app, and
Adventureland, son of Zeus!
El Dorado.
Welcome to Adventureland!
Ball save! Surprise award!
You can best tell a town by its saloon. Ouch, a nasty one. Good for me, bad for them.
Howdy, sweetie. I'm Sheriff Evans. Welcome to Rockland Point.
That was close. You ain't heard the last out of me.
Shoot the ball, why not do it with some skill? We just bought us some time. Here's a copy, Doc. This is heavy. That was close. I like the ball. Maybe I should go alone. Oh, you're here for the numbers, aren't you? I'm here to catch a shark.
Nice one! Food.
Hello, and again, welcome to the Aperture Science Computer-Aided Enrichment Center.
Yes, I knew someone was alive in here. Try to jump across. Oh, nicely done.